you'll notice that the Bolt is still here, blocking. He's now been here for well over 2.5 hours, okay? Or something like that, ridiculous. But this Taycan, God bless him, man. He figured it out. He was able to plug in. I like how he's laid the cable right on the Bolt too. That's beautiful, right? So, but look here, Signet Surge kicked in. This is just horrible. We still have the 350 over there out. You know, look, go buy a CCS car. Definitely, you know, just go buy one. Don't buy a Tesla. These are the cars to buy. This is the infrastructure you want and need, right? Wow. You know, to me, the incentive for Electrify America to actually repair and replace and service their existing units is just not there. Everybody's moving to NACS. I don't know why Lucid's not at least making some kind of a statement to NACS. It's definitely weighing on my decision as to whether or not I keep this car, my dream car. Honestly, this is my dream car or not. And because it's not the ultimate road tripper, not because of the car, but because of the network, I got some serious thinking to do. We have traveled so far.
Police reported ahead.
Uh-oh, police reported ahead. Let's slow this down a little bit. I'm so excited. I got me an ABB unit here in Clarion, Pennsylvania. 7%. Please. Oh, look at this. There we go. This is what I'm talking about. All right, so here we are. University of Notre Dame, or Notre Dame, one of the most prestigious Catholic private institutions, higher education institutions in the world, I would say. Amazing football. I just drove past the linebacker inn over there. Oh, there's their football stadium over there. Check this out. Yeah, there's building going on. You know, this thing that you see in these college campuses, oh, I guess it's not building. This just looks like it's new buildings. There's like there's the bookstore. Dave's Hot Chicken. There we go. Yes, Dave's Hot Chicken. I actually don't like spicy food. Good morning and welcome to another episode of Out of Spec Dave, where today is day 2 of this massive road trip from Fort Collins, Colorado, all the way back to Connecticut in the Lucid Air Grand Touring, which is right over there. Now, my throat is a little scratchy this morning. I don't know why. It might have been that sugar cookie I ate last night at about midnight. But yeah, so look, you know, the car's been great. Day 1 was a frustrating day from a charging standpoint and an incredibly good day from the actual driving standpoint. We'll see what's in store for me. This is a Sunday, so we're going to be heading, I'm in Geneseo, Illinois, and we're going to be heading over to Chicago, through Ohio, and then hitting all the way into Pennsylvania, through New Jersey, and then over. So I imagine we're going to hit some traffic, probably. Who knows? It's the summer and it's on a weekend, but it's going to be a good one. So stick with me. I did not go quite as far as I had hoped for yesterday. Currently, we're at a 58% state of charge, which translates into just around 300 miles of EPA rated range. I would say that that's probably not accurate. And the reason why I say that is because if you look over here at the vehicle in terms of the trip information that we've done, we are averaging, well, we've driven 853 miles and burned 226 kilowatt hours with an average consumption of 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour. While that's not bad, let me do a quick calculation here. Hold on one second. Yeah, so while that's not bad, if you think about the consumption here, the size of the battery pack in this car is 112 kilowatt hours. Let's say 110 usable of the 112. And if you multiply 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, and there's 110,000 kilowatt hours or watt hours, then that comes out to an estimated range of 412 miles. So even though this car is EPA rated for 516 miles of range, and again, that's with the 19-inch wheels, it's at the speeds that I'm going, this car is capable, if you really go all the way to 100, and then bring it all the way down to, call it 0%, of 400 miles of real world range. Now, the problem with doing that is that this car does not charge well. And so especially above, call it 50%, 60%, it starts to taper. And that's if you find a really good charger, and which I've been struggling to do this trip. We've had nothing but issues with the Signet Surge. What that means is you plug in and it seemingly does well for about 3 seconds, and all of a sudden it starts going ping pong and all over the place. If you haven't seen the first episode, you'll see that happening. Basically, you'll pull 120, 15 or 50, and then 130, and then 80, and it just goes back and forth. And I don't think that can be good for the car. But it is a problem with these older Signet units that were put in the ground here along Route 80 back in 2018. And the technology back then, there was no such thing as a high voltage car, and it doesn't seemingly know what to do with it. I don't know why it does this Signet Surge. I've heard rumors, but I can't speculate. All I know is it's unbearable to have this as a road tripping car. It's just bad. You don't experience the same issue with the Signet Surge with a lower voltage car. So if somebody pulls up to, with an XC40, like the guy yesterday, Eric, who's a viewer, he didn't really have a great charging session, but he had a better charging session than I did in an XC40, which charges a maximum 150. So anyway, let's see what the trip is all about. So we did 853 miles yesterday. And today we've got a little bit of a challenge on our hands, 968 miles. And I'm going to do a soft reset here in a moment, but it's 8:07 a.m. Now keep in mind, that's 7:07 Mountain, but 9:07 Eastern. So we've got some ground to cover here, and I would say enough talking. Let's get back to road tripping. But before I do that, what I want to do is I want to do a reset on this infotainment system, because yesterday this temperature was reading 66 degrees all day, except for when I was plugged in. It was weird. I noticed that in a little bit strange way. So I think what I'm going to do is do this soft reset right now. Okay, so the way to do a soft reset on the infotainment is to, you need to hit About, and then you can read all the notes as far as what the latest software release is giving you. I'm not going to go into that right now, but basically what you do is you hold your finger down on this air for 10 seconds, they say, but I see it actually doing something already, and I don't know if that did it. They said it was 1.5 minutes. No, I don't think it did. All right, that was because there was a delay. Did you see that? There was a delay when I hit Learn More. That was telling me that's basically, not basically, but what it's doing is it's pulling the manual. Okay, so that there were some things that it updated with for the last version of the software. So if I go back to that, and false alarm there, that did not reset it. And then hit air and just hold that down for 10 seconds is what I'm told. And the car has to be in park, unlike a Tesla where you can actually do this soft reboot while you're driving. There we go. My screen just went off. Now you can see this is saying power off. This screen over there just went off, and it looks like we are doing okay there. Now we've got a beautiful landscape there, and I don't know if you can see that. Okay. Yeah, so now the whole car looks like it's rebooting in terms of the software, which is something I wanted to do yesterday, but I didn't. And again, the reason why I'm doing this is because lane departure protection failure feature has been disabled. Okay, that's good. I didn't have that before I did the reset. Hopefully that will clear. Oh, I know why that is. Yeah, I don't like that lane departure warning. I turned that off. And we've got a beautiful Lucid logo down here. I was told this takes about 2 to 3 minutes in its entirety. And yeah, Let's see how long this takes to boot up. Okay, and just a few seconds after actually, stopping that video right there, it came back up. So we're back in business. Whoa, hey now. All right, we'll put that on mute. And what are we going to do today? So let's go over and check out the navigation system. All right, so even after the soft reboot there, the car still remembered that we're heading to Darien, Connecticut, 968 miles away. You can see that it gives you the directions, turn-by-turn directions right here, which you can scroll up and look at all of them. You can also hit Manage, which tells you where you're supposed to start or stop along your journey. And what's interesting is this is telling me to stop with 113 miles of range, and I've got 298 miles of range in the tank, if you will. So to me, that's not bringing it down low enough. So what I'm going to do right now is search. I mean, I don't know what this Wyandotte Service Plaza is. 264 miles away. Maybe that's the one we should go for. I can't really see any details about it when I click on this, or maybe I can't. No, I can't really see it, which is a little bit odd. But I definitely don't want to stop after only 113 miles. So let me see. I'm going to go up over to, let's see if Apple CarPlay. Okay, and I want to go to EA. Where is EA? Here we go. Let's go to Electrify America, and let's scroll out here. Oh, you know what's going to happen is, typically what happens with CarPlay, although this seemingly is doing pretty well, it gets very laggy, the system. It's not fair to the car when I'm filming using the camera that's actually powering CarPlay. So I'm going to put this on pause, find my next destination in Electrify America, and then I'm going to talk to you about that. Okay, so according to Electrify America, they're in South Bend, Indiana. There is an Electrify America. It's 4 stations, 2 350s, 2 150s, 1 Chatham being one of the 150s. And that is 221 miles away, according to the navigation here. So I am going to use that as my destination. And 298 miles in the tank, 221 miles away. It's time to go. So it looks as if the software reset for the infotainment system did in fact solve my temperature. It's been bouncing around between 67, 69, 70. So that's a good thing. Probably not a bad idea to do that infotainment reset once in a while anyway, just to clean out all the little buggers that maybe have accumulated, little cobwebs, in the EV infrastructure. So anyway, we're heading to South Bend, Indiana, which is the home of the Fighting Irish, the Notre Dame. I've never been to Notre Dame. I've never seen the campus. I'm going to go check it out. Now, it's interesting to note, in Geneseo, there was a Walmart across the street, and there was an Electrify America. I should have stopped in there just to check out to see and confirm that they were signets. I believe they are, but I did not need to charge because I arrived with such a high state of charge, and I got enough juice to go in. I did try to find a hotel with a level 2, and out here, I don't know, it doesn't seem to have caught on yet with these hotels. When I do the search in hotels.com and I say EV charging, they're like, coming up empty. I guess I could have plugged into a 110, but you know what? Whatever. I mean, I've got plenty of juice now, a lot of range to get all the way from Geneseo out to South Bend. But I'm excited to check out the campus. You know, I remember years ago when the kids were getting ready to go to college, we did these college road trips, which, boy, I'll tell you what, if you got kids that are in like junior high, high school, the best thing that you can do is a road trip with your kids and take them on a journey, because they'll never forget it. Just you and your son, or you and your daughter, not the whole family. And there's a couple things that happen. Number one, bonding, which is great, and just, you know, staying, getting to know your son or daughter. Just you get all kinds of. I have such memories from both those trips. But the one thing that you also end up doing is you end up learning about the different campuses just from a size standpoint. So even if you can't necessarily, let's say, your kid doesn't have the grades to get into whatever college it is, doesn't matter. Go see the college campus anyway, because there's a look and a feel of the campus, and then they get to see big schools, small schools, and do that before they're starting to apply. What you want to do is you want to give them a vision ahead of time, so that if they're like, wow, I really want to go to XYZ college and I'm not quite there yet, I need to get my grades up. Nothing better than a vision to motivate you, as opposed to, hey, Kyle, hey, Katie, did you do your homework yet? You know what happens is when they see the light and they see the prize, they end up doing their homework on their own, right? Isn't that the way life is? It's just amazing. So anyway, look, nobody on the road so far this morning, which is good. I got my car yelling at me to take control. I'm drinking some nasty vanilla bean coffee from the Best Western. By the way, the Best Western, not a bad place, not a great place. It was clean. It had a hot water. It was quiet. What more can you want? I was out. I was so tired. But yeah, so listen, let's get back to road tripping here. And I'm excited to see the town of South Bend and also the campus. I want to check it out. Okay, let's just do a quick check-in here. We are somewhere in southern Illinois, and we're about to be heading into Indiana. We're 95 miles away from South Bend, Indiana. Electrify America. I believe it's a 4-station, you know, 2 350s, 2 150s, most likely a Signet. We shall see. For those of you who know road tripping with Out of Spec, or at least Out of Spec Dave and Out of Spec Mom, we all know that when we hit a border, state border, it's time to clap, right? You gotta, when you hit it, you gotta clap. This goes back to the days when we used to road trip down to Florida, go down to Disney World with the kids. You wanted to do something to keep them occupied. So every time they would hit a state, we would clap, and they would. And from Connecticut down to Florida, what we would have to do is the kids would have to remember the states. And it was, you know, up in the Northeast, there's a lot of states. You got New York, you got New Jersey. Depending on you might have Pennsylvania, or you might just have Delaware if you skip over Pennsylvania. And then you get into Maryland, and then Washington, D.C., and so on. So every time we would hit a state, they would have to remember the sequence, and they'd have to repeat it. And you know, it was rapid fire for a while. But then when you'd hit like Georgia, okay, and or when you hit Virginia, you're in Virginia forever, as you know, and then the kids forget, right? And was like, no, you got to remember the states. Who's going to win? So we used to play that game, and then by the time they'd hit the Florida border, I remember I think they both Katie and Kyle, they both got it. They nailed down the states, and it was great. We were doing high fives as we crossed over into Florida. So, but yeah, I think pretty soon here we're going to be crossing over from Illinois into Indiana, and I'm not exactly sure when, but when we do, I think it's right up here. Maybe I'm wrong. Signs keep saying Indiana. I keep thinking, oh, well, we're at Indiana. I think it's like, in case you're lost, we're going to tell you 95 times you're in Indiana. We'll come back when we're about to cross over in Indiana. At least now you have the context. We're going to clap this time. I don't know if we're going to do it for all the other states. I can tell you I've done it every single time. It's just something that's near and dear. It brings me back memories. All right, here we are, Indiana, doing 18. Wait, that was a little too soon. There we go. Oh, yeah. All right, well, I almost caught me off guard. I thought it said Indiana was 20 miles up the road. I guess I have maps I could actually look and see, but I didn't think to do that. I was listening to tunes. Anyway, I had jammed up the camera there quickly. We hit Indiana. Indiana's coming. What was that song? I don't know if I'm allowed to sing that. Bum, 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 bum. Anyway, yeah, so we're going to head over to South Bend, 80 miles away now. 111 in the tank. Let's go. Okay, I'm making a declaration. The Lucid navigation system is unusable on a road trip. I've said it. Why did I say it? Here's what's going on. I'm 56 miles away from South Bend, Indiana, Electrify America. I've got 96 miles of range, indicated range in the tank. And I've told it I want to go to South Bend, Indiana, but it's telling me it's a 90-mile trip and I won't make it. Why? Because it doesn't think I can make it there. So it's sending me back to a GM dealer, GM Shepell Buick, which is 14 miles behind me, to a 50 kilowatt station that most likely is not available on a Sunday. Okay? But meanwhile, I'm only 56 miles away from South Bend, Indiana, and I got 95 miles in the tank. This is not usable. If you do what this navigation tells you to do, you're going to take a long time on a road trip. So I would say use it for pieces of information, laugh at it a little bit, perhaps, but like I'm not doing anything wrong. I know how to use these systems. It's getting there. It's not there, guys. It's just not there yet. Okay, so I've pulled in here with a 3% state of charge, typical out-of-spec style. The trip itself, I did 335 miles. There was a lot of traffic. Waze routed me around. This navigation system was horrible, very depressing, but I increased my efficiency to 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour. And I'm 1,080 miles into the trip. So, making progress. The problem, though, here is that there is a situation at this EA. We've got a Mustang Mach-E at 92% state of charging. We've got another Mustang Mach-E that is at a 63% state of charge. Both are, this is in, where the heck am I? South Bend, Indiana, at a mall. There's a JCPenney and Macy's over there. We've got a Bolt over here on the 150, and he is at a, let's see what state of charge he is at. I can't even tell. I'll look at that. But this 350, just completely down. So, yeah, both these Mach-E owners, they're probably in shopping, doing whatever. And this is, I'm just going to have to wait. I'm going to have to wait. So we'll see what happens here. Let's see what this situation is here. Oh yeah, this guy's end state charge was 99%, so he's completely done, and he's not anywhere to be found. Folks, this is not good. He's blocking this charging station right here. So there's his license plate, okay, right there. I'm going to have a chat with him. I don't know how long he's been on the hook here, but, this is crazy. When I got here, there was an Audi that was all mad. He just left. Charging time, 1 hour and 53 minutes. It finished at 11:51. It's 12:58. So this car's been sitting here for 1 hour and 7 minutes blocking this station. I'm going to try and unplug him. I don't care. Let's see. There we go. Unplugged. He's unplugged. The problem is no one else can plug in. So I don't understand the situation. All right, so here I am in South Bend, Indiana, not happy at all. We've got a Bolt here. I don't care if you see his license plate. He was plugged in when I got here. He had already finished charging to 100% 1 hour and 12 minutes before I tried to unplug. I unplugged him because I tried to get my car over to try and finagle to plug into this 150. So he's been fully charged for about 1 hour and 30 minutes now. I've been waiting for about 25 minutes. This 350 over here, completely offline. This Mustang Mach-E next to me in the Lucid, the white one over there, he's at 99% state of charge, nowhere to be found. And then next to him is a Mach-E with a young lady sitting in there. She's charging. She's currently at about 82%. So, this is what it's like to road trip a CCS car. Man, I'll tell you what, it's one thing. And, oh, by the way, their Signet Surge. The Signet Surge is going to happen because these are old Signet stations here as well. So this one completely blocked, okay? This one completely down. Another one now, the guy's at 99%, and someone's charging properly. And this is the infrastructure that we're to rely on. Okay, so finally things cleared out. This Mustang Mach-E left at an 80% state, or actually 82% state of charge. There's nothing wrong with that. This guy here, he kind of came back as soon as it hit 100%. He was probably just watching what's going on. And I'm plugging into this 350 over here now. The Bolt is still blocking over there. And now we got a Audi e-tron pulling up over here. Okay, so we're at a 3% state of charge, now 4%, pulling 157, 158. That's good. I hope this behavior stays like this. Charging power limited by station. I mean, folks, this is plugged into a 350 over here. You can hear the AC compressors just ripping it now. 159, 5%. I hope that this stays like this. Maybe it's going to be a good charging session. So frustrating that people like that over there just abuse the system. Electrify America should do something about this. Now, I unplugged the guy because I tried to plug in my car at an angle. like this over here, and I couldn't make it reach. So, you know, I guess EA doesn't even know he's there now, to be fair. But he was there for an hour and 12 minutes after he fully charged. So they should look him up and ticket him or charge him a lot of money because he's blocking. Now this e-tron GT over here just pulled in, and I instructed him to grab that 150 as fast as possible. Well, no, Signet Surge has returned. There we go. Yeah. So at a 6% state of charge, there you go. There you have it. I mean, plug and charge worked, so that's good. But man, this is just not a good situation. All right, so it's 45 minutes later. I'm at a 65% state of charge. Signet Surge kicked in, no big deal. You'll notice that my shirt, it looks like I got, well, so I went in the mall to get lunch. And there's, you know, the Japanese place, he's got the bourbon chicken. You wanted the free sample. So I go like this, and they had put juice in the little cup, and I just wasted myself. So I'm going to definitely change my shirt to my Tesla Model 3 shirt because I can't be looking like this. So I just found reason number 27 to buy a Porsche Taycan. You've got two places to charge that car, both on the port and the starboard side. You'll notice that the Bolt is still here, blocking. He's now been here for well over 2.5 hours, okay? Or something like that, ridiculous. But this Taycan, God bless him, man. He figured it out. He was able to plug in. I like how he's laid the cable right on the Bolt too. That's beautiful, right? So, but look here, Signet Surge kicked in. This is just horrible. We still have the 350 over there out. You know, look, go buy a CCS car. Definitely, you know, just go buy one. Don't buy a Tesla. These are the cars to buy. This is the infrastructure you want and need, right? Wow. Okay, so it's just a quick summary of what a great charging session here at South Bend. I mean, I pull in and there's a Bolt plugged in. Okay, whatever. Guy's nowhere to be seen. He had already finished charging after an hour and 12 minutes ago, but the car was still there. There was an Audi, what was that? An e-tron waiting to plug in. I went into the men's room real fast. When I came out, the Audi e-tron was gone. There were two Mustang Mach-E's, both plugged in, one basically at 99%, the owner nowhere to be found. The other one was legit. She was at 76%, up to 82%, and then left. And finally, I basically was going to plug into the 150 where the Mustang Mach-E, the young lady was at. And then all of a sudden, very nonchalantly, the other Mustang Mach-E people just showed up and got in their car and were talking for a few minutes. Brand new Mustang Mach-E, super clean, temporary plates. I'm sure they were all excited. I didn't say anything. Whatever. You're allowed to charge to 100%. They did. And they had timed it perfectly. They walked out right when it hit 100%. But it was a good 25 minutes for it to go from, let's say, 97% to 100, just because the thing is probably popping off or what have you. So I pulled in at 3%, took it up to 80%. It was a 58-minute charge. After 4%, right in there, it popped up to 157. I think I saw 159 for a brief period of time. Got excited, rode that right up to 6%, and then Signet Surge the whole way. I just got frustrated, and I went in to get some lunch. And that's when I spilled the bourbon chicken. You know, the Japanese guys, when they offer you the free food, and I went like this and it poured right on my shirt. So I've decided that I pulled out, because I need a little bit of good luck here. I pulled out the Tesla Model 3 shirt, okay? I'm going to turn things around here, and at least I think I am. In spirit I am. And I've got my lucky Model 3 shirt on. Thing about the Model 3, it works every time. Every single time. This, folks, seriously, all kidding aside, this is, and the bourbon chicken was good, but I was just so angry I got a piece of pizza. Anyway, so I'm going to go into downtown. I want to go see the campus here at Notre Dame and film a little bit. I've never seen it. I'll take some video. I want to show you guys what that's all about as well. I'm sticking with this trade, as we say in the business. It's all I got right now. Car continues to be amazing. Even the AC, it's super hot out, but you know what? It's just crazy. The temperature still says it's 67, 68, 69 degrees. It's been plugged at 69 degrees for the last 2 hours. It's got to be 95 degrees out here. I mean, it's hot, or at least in the low 90s. So the infotainment reset, while it may have fixed some things, it didn't fix that. So I'll have to call Tesla. Maybe I will call Tesla and have them fix it. That'd be kind of funny. But I'll call Lucid and have them come out with the mobile app. Maybe they can do it remotely. We'll see how good they are. It's a simple thing. Tell me what the temperature is of outside temperature. How hard is that? Yeah, that's not hard, right? I'm sure it's something simple, but I just want to be able to know what the temperature is outside. Is that asking too much? And again, for all those people that are like, Dave, you're whining, just use the car for local. It's a big 500-mile range. I can tell you that just from a summary standpoint, I have now driven. Let me reset trip by. Yeah, I did 335 miles on that last leg. I did 3.9. The overall trip, I've gone 1,080 miles, and I'm at 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, which again is about a 412 mile range. Excellent for cruising the speeds that I'm doing. Speed limits are 70, and no one goes 70. So you deduce what kind of speeds I'm going. That's really good road tripping range. But you're not going to charge super fast at the top of the pack. Think about this. I went from 3% to 80% in an hour. Okay. I don't even want to compare. It doesn't matter. The car has a poor charging curve above 50% if you're on a good unit. The problem is I'm not on a good unit, and there are no good units. So far, I've not run into one, and that's just not the way it should be. At least not for me. You guys do what you want. This is an amazing car, though. All right, let's keep going. right, so here we are, University of Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Notre Dame that's the cathedral that burned in Paris. Oh, what a disaster. Beautiful place. We took the kids there years ago, and it just, I don't care if you're religious or not, what an amazing cathedral. But this is Notre Dame. This is so cool. Look at this. I guess there is a little construction going on over here. So this is interesting. A lot of brick here. A lot of use of brick buildings. Light brick, not dark brick. It's kind of a cool texture and ambiance to the campus here. There's so much history here. Legends. Look at that. That's it must be a museum, right? To all the legends that have played in the sports, different various, whether it's basketball or football. There's the football stadium right there. Boy, I mean, it's dead now. There's nobody here. It's the middle of July. The stadium lot. All right. Very cool. Mendoza College of Business. Go in there and figure out how to rule the world. That's some of the most amazing business people in the world have gone to that school. This place has just got, this is legends. Legends are made of this. I went to Ithaca College. Division III, we had a football team. We were the Lambert champions, Lambert Bowl down in Alabama. But that's like, it's just different. Wow. Look at this. Pretty amazing. Gate B. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Now over here, what is this beautiful building on the left here? Purcell Pavilion at the Joyce Center. I don't know. I'm not sure what that is. A lot of lights, a lot of practice fields. There's a big field house over there. Yeah, I'm just cruising around here, just checking it out. Calming down from my Signet Surge, from my bolt blocking a 150. I don't know. I mean, I know people at Tesla sometimes have bad behavior too. We've seen a sense of entitlement as more and more people adopt cars. It's so critical that we don't get upset at each other. As a matter of fact, I was having a conversation with the Taycan owner. He came back, super nice guy. He was from Chicago. He got to talking. He's like, yeah. I said, how do you like your car? It was a 4S, and he just got it, loved it. Red interior, pretty interesting color combination. And he said, yeah, I've got this on one extreme, and I got an Aston Martin DB7, or was it a DB9, 12 cylinder on the other extreme. And he just gets like 9 miles to the gallon. So he didn't even know what like to look for with the Signet Surge. We had a good chat, and it was funny. He was like, I wasn't that careful when I plugged in, you know, the cable went over the bolt. I mean, he wasn't like trying to be malicious or anything, but he needed the cable to actually go over and touch the bolt in order to reach his car. And, you know, I said, dude, look, you know, you're not doing any harm. He said, yeah, if that bolt owner, he looked at me, he thought I was the bolt owner. And I go, no, I'm not. He was ready to blast me. And I said, look, you know, the thing is, if that bolt owner had come out, I would have said to him or her, I would have said, hey, listen, do you understand what you're doing? Because I don't think people think, right? They're just not thinking. If they really understood that Dave Connor is coming from Fort Collins on a 1,900-mile road trip to Connecticut and is relying on that station there for fuel in order to continue on his trip. And because of your ignorance, let's call it that way, I can't believe it's intentional. I can't believe someone would actually realistically say, haha, I'm going to block a car and I'm going to take video of him and put that on the internet. Like, that'll be fun. I can't imagine that someone would do that. So I think it comes down to us having cooler heads and educating people maybe that now, by the way, if you educate the guy and then you see him back there every day, yeah, then blast him, right? Or call the police. The Taycan guy said he called Electrify America on this guy, and they said that they were going to send out a tow truck to tow him away. You really think they're going to do that? I mean, like, I don't know, maybe. I never knew you could do that. I never knew Electrify America had the ability to do that. But if that's true, then I'm going to do that. Sure, right? I mean, that's just not right. So anyway, you know, the other point is that it's very, you know, even in the Tesla world, the thing with Tesla is you just have so many more stations to choose from, and generally speaking, it's very rare that you will find a Tesla supercharger with only 4 stations. I think on the Merritt Parkway in Connecticut, some of the earliest, maybe one of the earliest stations to go in, there's 2 there with 4 each. But generally speaking, there's more. But that's no excuse either, just because of the sheer number of them. The issue is that more and more people are going to be using Tesla now because everybody's realizing how bad the CCS infrastructure is. So they're partnering with Tesla for the NACS, National North America Charging Standard. And so we're going to start seeing Fords, Chevys, Mercedes, Volvos, you know, coming up and charging. You won't see a Lucid, right? Because, you know, I'm not going to go there. But basically, if I were to charge, if Lucid were to support NACS in its current form with the V3s, this car would only charge it only charges at 42 kilowatts. We know that for a fact because we've charged this car at Magic Dock before. and it's just, the onboard charger just is not capable of stepping up the current fast enough to allow this car to charge faster. So, people who have Lucids, if Lucid were to support NACS, they would have a worse experience, maybe not worse, but they would have a bad experience charging on Tesla. And then Tesla would get a bad name for it. So this whole thing's gotten way out of hand. But the point I was trying to make is that not everyone is an angel who owns a Tesla. I've seen people just park their Teslas and walk away. It's like their parking spot. Of course, I have an electric car. Now, maybe in the old days when you were the only guy in town who had a Tesla, you could do that and then walk into the mall and or wherever it was, and you had a better parking spot. I can't remember where it was at Tesla, and he had a Model X, and he had one of those racks for the bikes in the back, and he couldn't quite reach. It was like this extended rack, so he pulled sideways. Now, no one was really there, and there were a lot of superchargers, so I didn't say anything. But look, all we need to do is use our common sense, think about others. Perhaps leave a note on your car if you're going to be away and you have the ability to run out if someone really needs to get the juice. But you have to realize these stations are our gas stations, if you will. Gas stations, right? And so let's all try to, let's all try and think. It's not that hard to just be considerate. Is it? Is it that hard? But you have to be aware that you even need to be considerate before you can be considerate. So everybody's pushing out all these cars, the manufacturers. Yeah, maybe they're doing a poor job of educating. I don't know what it is, but that's why I think it's up to us, in the YouTube community to try and spread the word about what's the right way to do things. But we can't do it alone. We need your help, all the viewers, about charging etiquette. I can't stress this enough. It's becoming more and more of a problem, and it's just an awareness. So my advice, and I've said this, I know I've said this consistently over the years, don't lose your cool, don't get angry, educate. All right, enough said. I'm going to keep driving around Notre Dame. This is beautiful. Retail shops, Starbucks, you got a bookstore over here, you got Jimmy John's. I bet there's insomnia cookies, right? Doesn't every college town have an insomnia cookies? You got all these people that are trying to back up diagonally. This is not the real deal campus. And when you go up to some of the schools up in Cambridge or Boston, and they've already been built out for years. This is all brand new. These dorms must be amazing. I would imagine Eddy Street Commons, they call this. There's Trader Joe's. So at the end of the street here, you got, some retail, bigger retail, banks, learning center, credit unions, grocery store, and all that. Yeah, so anyway, that's... I feel like I've got the flavor of this place down pretty well, and I'm heading out. So here I am in this beautiful Ohio rest stop, and there's both Tesla and Electrify America. Really clean, really nice, some nice food, Starbucks, Burger King, and they also have video games. But I don't know about you, but I don't see any video here. I see a game, no video game there, no video game there, no video game here, or here, or here, or here, or here. I think this is an interesting social commentary on the state of affairs for video games. Are video games dead? Comment below. So here we are at the rest stop. This is a beautiful place, right off of Route 80. Really nice. I don't know if all those Tesla superchargers out there are just empty because they don't work. I don't know what the deal is. No, obviously they work. And there's just nobody here. And the Electrify America is right over there where my car is. This is actually, believe it or not, a 6-station EA station, and plugged in at a high state of charge. I just had to use the men's room. I just figured I'd top off a little bit, but interesting. All right, so here I am somewhere in the middle or sort of towards the western side of Ohio. Beautiful rest stop here. Really nice place. Good clean bathrooms. Some video games that aren't video games. You have to watch the video for that. It's pretty weird. You've got a couple of Leafs over here. One from New York, charging on the CHAdeMO. Another from Canada, waiting to charge on the CHAdeMO. The Leaf from New York, he's at a 58% state of charge. He's pulling a whopping 20 kilowatts. So I feel bad for this guy from Canada who's just going to have to wait. In my case, I plugged in at a 50-something% state of charge, I think 52% or something like that, and pulled 117. No signet surge, I guess up above a certain level percent state of charge, but I'm only pulling 117 now at a 70% state of charge or so. Just hanging out here a little bit. I'm pulling 85 kilowatts, so I'm ready to leave. I guess the good news here is that plug and charge worked again, so that's however many times. Only one time it hasn't worked for me. And no signet charge when you plug it in a high state of charge, but that doesn't make it right. Right, so I just did a quick top off at an EA station just off of I-80 in Ohio, and look, I was at 54%. I had to use the men's room, so I went in, and yeah, I got into a conversation with a woman who said, I've never seen one of these charging things before, and she was all inquisitive. So, I helped her out, and I said, explained to her a little bit about what it's all about. Anyway, I pulled in at a 54% state of charge. I ramped up very quickly to 171 kilowatts, and it stayed there pretty consistently. And I was unable to monitor exactly how it tapered off because I was in the men's room there and the rest stop. But what I can tell you is that when I came back out, it was about 76% state of charge, and it had tapered down to around 82 kilowatts. So, look, there were 2 Leafs there, and, there's only one CHAdeMO, and one of the Leafs was plugged in. I think he was at, 58% state of charge. He was from New York. The other guy was from Canada. They were helping each other out after when I was just about to leave. The guy from Canada, he couldn't figure out how to charge. His credit card was declined. And the other guy was super cool. Unfortunately, his wife was in a wheelchair, and he was helping her in and out. My heart went out to him, but he was fine. He was handling it great. And he went over and he helped this other guy. And, that's the camaraderie that you want to see when someone is struggling a little bit. Be nice to them and help them out. And that's exactly what I saw there. So, 2 relics of the past, if you will, with the CHAdeMO connector. There were 4 EA stations there, 2 350s again, 2 150s, just like all the others along I-80 here. Signets from 2018. I did not get the signet surge this time, and I want to talk about that a little bit. See, the thing is that this car, after 50%, 52%, it's not asking for that much power from the unit. Therefore, the unit is able to deliver what it's asking for. So it takes it, and the car takes it fine, which at an initial glance, you would say that's great. But at 54% to only get 117 kilowatts, I can tell you a Taycan is pulling at least 250. I'm sorry. At least 250 kilowatts at a 54%. And like, so as great a car as this is, the point I want to make on this charging session is no fault of EA here, right? No Signet Surge. As a matter of fact, also plug and charge worked. But this car is not asking for enough energy. That's why it didn't Signet Surge, because I pulled in with such a high state of charge. So don't think that that's a good thing, because now instead of me pointing a finger at EA saying I should be getting more juice, give me more juice because the car's asking for it. Now here the car's not asking for more juice, and the EA station saying, "Oh, cool, I got an easy day job today. This guy only wants 117K at 54%." Come on, that's crazy. That's just crazy. This is a charging beast. Man, I'll tell you what, like, the engineers need to tweak the charging curve on this car. Doesn't anybody else care about this stuff who owns Lucids? Please chime in. Tell me if I'm crazy. But if this is supposed to be the ultimate road tripper and you advertise, oh, it charges above 300. In fact, we've seen 351 peak. If it does it for, like, as Kathy says, my wife, a hot second, who cares? It's all about the curve, right? So this curve is not good. And that's what that charging session just proved. So, yeah, not a good charging session this time for a different reason. Anyway. Okay, so one thing I wanted to talk about as far as the ADAS system in this car, Advanced Driver Assistance. Again, it's the combination of the adaptive cruise plus the lane centering, and then when you put those two together, that's what highway driver assist is in this car. So highway assist, I guess. Now, sometimes what happens is you lose the auto lane centering, the steering. It just goes away. And in some cars, it does that, and there's just a tiny little steering wheel that just changes color, and it doesn't tell you that it goes away. In this car, they've really thrown a big, bright amber message in the lower left-hand corner of the screen that's hard to miss. And what it says is it changes. It basically says, look, highway assist is no longer available in this area. Now, why is it not available in the area? That's a different question. But the fact is that it is not available in the area, and all you're relying on at that point in time is the adaptive cruise control as a dual motor long range. I think it's a long range. Funny, the guy's last name is Patel, and he put PA on one side of the letter T on the back and EL on the other. I can tell you that if my last name were Patel, I wouldn't do that. But it works for him, and I like that. I think that's pretty funny. So, anyway, Yeah. So the question is, why is the car doing that? The second point is the fact that it's doing it. It lets you know, whereas others don't. That's a good thing. But the question is, why hasn't Lucid opened up the lane centering on anything that is not marked a highway? They just call it highway assist. And so and what they define as highways, sometimes they look like highways to me, but for whatever reason in their database, they consider it not a highway, and therefore I lose the ability to do lane centering, which is sometimes annoying. Especially on more country roads, forget it. You're not using lane centering at all. Tesla, some of the other brands, you got it. I know that in Kyle's Rivian, I think that there's only certain roads that are mapped. And I don't think that Lucid has taken it that far that the road has to be mapped. I think it's just, is the classification of the road technically, a superhighway, if you will. So look, I think good job in informing people as to whether or not you have highway assist or not, the lane centering. But why not give it to me more often than not? Now, the Lucid, all the Lucid guys will say, yeah, but in time, Dave. But how much time does Lucid really need for things like lane changing and this kind of thing? Just give me highway assist on different roads. I just don't understand why the software is not catching up as quickly as one would think. Now, I've never worked for an auto manufacturer. I'm a financial services guy, but I've driven cars an awful lot. And, the people that I know that are designing this car are doing a phenomenal job. It just must be about priorities. There's no way what I'm talking about is difficult. It's just not. So why aren't they doing it? Are they overstretched? Probably. But why are they overstretched? How long have they had to work on this stuff? A super long time. These are the thoughts that are going on in my head. Maybe they're not going on in your head, but they're going on in my head. So at least you know what's going on in my head. I'm not shy to say what's going on in my head. Anyway, just a quick summary on the trip. Let's take a look at it. We're 1,233 miles in. We've got, let's just see, we'll go over here, 596 miles left. It's 6 p.m. The odds of me getting home tonight before midnight is 0. Maybe I'll get home by 3 in the morning. I may get super tired and crash somewhere and then go home tomorrow. I just kind of wanted to do this trip in 2 days. And I know I could have gotten up a little earlier this morning, and I could have not gone for a tour of the college, Notre Dame, and I probably could have hustled along faster. But I guess that's okay. What I am doing on this trip is I'm not getting reacclimated. I am reacclimated to this vehicle. And I just want to be clear, I'm nitpicking on little things with Lucid here. Overall, there's no question this is an amazing car. It's a great cruiser. It handles amazingly in the canyons, as I found out yesterday. Kyle talks about, I hear him and I watch him in the canyon. I was on the roads that he goes on all the time. And as big a boat as she is, my friends, this thing handles really well, surprisingly well. It's kind of, multi-function, and no joke. I'm not just saying that. It drives amazingly well. And these were on the skinny tires. These are on the 19s, on the small wheels. So, yeah, I mean, like it's just for my intended purposes. It's just not cutting it. It's just not. And is it Lucid's fault? Well, look, Lucid reached out to EA, and they said, you are our partner for our clients to fuel our vehicles. So that's what I do. I bought a Lucid. This is where I fuel my vehicle. Not a good experience. If you bought a gas car and you couldn't fill it up at Mobil, Shell, 5 other brands of stations, and then the ones that you can fill it up at, it doesn't work half the time. How would you feel about buying that car? Would you buy that car? I don't think you would, right? So why, if you're spending the kind of money you're spending for this car, why would you do that? So maybe you do that because you don't road trip that much. And if you don't road trip that much, and it's enough for you to have this car to be able to take to your beach house, or you want to go to Boston and back, you live in New York metro area, and you don't really want it, you want to avoid the DC fast chargers, and you can just charge level 2 at home, amazing car. Go for it. That's great. For my intended use, my use case is I want to road trip this thing, which is what it was designed for. And so DC fast charging, I'm placing a much higher emphasis on DC fast charging than perhaps others might, because of the fact that that's what I am looking for in this vehicle. I thought that's what this vehicle would deliver. It's the network that's let it down. So yeah, I mean, that's really the summary of this trip. I'm in Toledo, Ohio. I got 600 more miles. I'm not worried about the car in any way, shape, or form making it back. I think I will, let me just see, I'm at a 67% state of charge, and that gives me indicated 345 miles of range. I think if I go deep into the pack, pull in at 2, 3, 4%, like I've done a few times this trip already, and go for a deep charge to, let's say, 85%, I think I only need one more charging stop on this trip, which is pretty amazing. So I think that'll be a total of maybe 7 stops. So, and look, maybe that's fine for you, and it works. And if it does, I don't hesitate in recommending this vehicle. I think it's fine. If my experience doesn't bother you, this is a great car. But this experience that I'm having here doesn't work for me. It just doesn't. So, that's my experience. Anyway, it's been a great trip. Just be careful with the navigation. Don't listen to what it says to do, unless it's just the next stop that you're going. If you have multiple stops, be really careful. It's not good yet. That needs to be a little smoothed around the edges. You know what I'm talking about? So use some of the other tools. The Apple CarPlay integration, that's worked out great on this trip. It's limited in terms of the real estate for the display of the CarPlay screen. And, I've talked about this in many cases, but I'm just about the data. The presentation is less. I've got good eyesight, so I don't need it any bigger than it is. I just love the fact that I can actually see what I want to see. I can go to Waze. I can go to, PlugShare. I can go to EA. I can do all of that, not on my phone, but in the app. Well, it's on my phone, but I can use CarPlay to do it on the screen. And yeah, it's good. Plenty of storage in the car. Lots of people look at this car. I mean, like, people are getting getting sore necks looking at this car. Maybe they're looking at, I don't know, it's just because they haven't seen this brand before. And it's interesting, as I get further east, I saw a lot of Teslas and other electric vehicles back in Denver and where Kyle lives, and then it kind of went dry. And now, as I'm in Chicago area and all that, I'm starting to see more Teslas, more what have I seen? Leafs, a lot of Mustangs. I have not seen one other Lucid on the road. I didn't see an EQS either, whether it's an SUV or the big. I haven't seen one of those on this trip. So interesting. I haven't seen any Cadillac Lyrics on this trip. Very few of those out there. But not that many Teslas. 3s, Ys. I think I've only seen 2 X's on this whole trip. So a lot of gas cars out there still. I mean, this transition over to electric mobility is just getting going, at least in the heartland of this country, from what I can see. In Fairfield County, Connecticut, every other car is a Tesla. It's crazy. I think it's gotten, I don't mind it. Bring it on. It's great. And there's lots of different EVs where I live in Fairfield County, Connecticut. Lots of them. So maybe just not on Route 80. I don't know. Maybe they're off in the parking lots of all the houses around here, but they're definitely not on Route 80. I just don't see that many. So, but they see me, And man, they're getting whiplash with their necks because I don't know if they're like, wow, look at that beautiful car, or wow, look at that guy, what the heck is he driving? Is that a Buick? Just kidding. All right, so as we're about to enter the state of Pennsylvania, that woman's eating an ice cream cone next to me in that GMC there. And she looked like she was pretty happy. I don't have an ice cream cone. I haven't even had dinner yet. Well, in any event, I think we are going to be crossing over into Pennsylvania real soon here. Let me throw these wipers on a little bit faster. There we go. And yeah, I mean, let's see. Since the last charge, we have gone 216 miles, averaging 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour. A little bit of speed. Here's Pennsylvania border right here. So we're going to have to do a clap. 3, 2, 1, clap. All right, there you go, Katie. I did that for you. Speed limit increases to 70 from 65, which is nice. And hopefully the rain will stop because it's kind of nasty out. But, you know, I'm going to start thinking about our next and most likely last charging stop of this trip. If I can go deep into the pack. I've got currently 126 miles of range, which is 24% of the battery. And wouldn't it be nice if I could find one non-Signet station built in 2018? That would be really good. And you know, we'll have to see. So let me turn these windshield wipers down. We'll put them on auto. There we go. I guess, oh, the rain's stopping. That's great. So I'm going to take a peek and see where I'd like to charge. And I am currently, let's see, how far away from home am I? How come I can't see that? I don't know. Oh, because I'm on the phone. That's what happens when you rely on, when you're shooting video and you want to use CarPlay, it gets a bit messed up there. It's very delayed. As a matter of fact, some of the early YouTubers that were using CarPlay in the Lucid were ragging on how slow CarPlay was in the Lucid, and everybody was like, "Wait a minute, aren't you using your phone to film?" And then they're okay. It's actually pretty crisp. It's not bad, but let's just see. 418 miles away. It's 8:22 p.m. I don't know. I may just push it tonight, get home super late, or we'll see how I feel in a little bit. Next stop, though, is figuring out where I'm going to charge. So I'm not using this Lucid app anymore because that's just garbage. That's going to tell me to stop at some GM dealer with a 50 kilowatt DC fast charger. Bang. I'm just going to use Electrify America, confirm that it's good on PlugShare, and then I'm going to punch it into Waze, and I'm going to use that. I guess I could put the address in. I probably should put the address in when I get about 70 miles away into the Lucid. That way I can get some preconditioning going to hopefully achieve optimal energy consumption. But yeah, so that I'm going to do my homework now. I'm busy. I got to get back to work here. so excited. I got me an ABB unit here in Clarion, Pennsylvania. Let's see what we've got. We've pulled in here with, what state of charge are we at? Let's see. 7%. Please. Oh, look at this. There we go. This is what I'm talking about. 200. I mean, the car could go, this car could take up to, it'll go to 351 in the right scenario, but look for this. Bring it on. Good juice. First good charging session of the entire trip. Let's just do a quick summary here. We are vehicle trip information. We are 1,468 miles into the trip. I've got about 350 more miles to go. On this last session, we did 280 miles, 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour, and a little bit less efficient than we would have liked. We're starting to see a bit of a taper here at 13%, still pulling 212 though. Again, compared to what I've had this whole trip, I'm like, this is a breath of fresh air. This is just, this is the way it should be. I mean, this is the baseline. It can only get better from this. So it's been a long day, and I decided to check into a hotel. Called my daughter, Katie. She made a nice reservation for me at a microtel that had electric vehicle charging. And I was all excited because I'll plug in overnight for, just to the V2. And then when I get there, they got the Tesla wall boxes. And I don't have the adapter with me to charge going from Tesla to J1772. So now, meanwhile, in this town I'm at, where I forget where the heck I am, there's a Walmart and there's EA. And I drove down here and I looked at these EAs and I said, you know what? I think those are ABBs. And I plugged in at a 7% state of charge, and boom, went right up to 289 kilowatts. And I'm like, this is great. And the whole curve was awesome. So I said, I'm just gonna leave this thing on the hook. I went over here, there was a restaurant, I sat down, had some baked fish instead of junk that I've been eating this whole trip. And now I'm at a 94% state of charge. It's been on the hook for 61 minutes, and I'm gonna go all the way to 100%. And you know what? I couldn't be happier. I'm like, are you kidding me? So ABB finally comes through, found one on this whole trip. What is going on with EA that they can't put more of these out there? Just go and retrofit all the signets that are out there. They're horrible. Route 80, the whole way. Now, I'm in Pennsylvania right now, and just near Dubois, and not quite as far as Dubois. I still have about a 330-mile drive tomorrow morning to get home. This is a long trip, but, I could do it tonight. It's about 11 o'clock, but I wouldn't get home till probably around 4 a.m. But, so I'm going to stay over here and check it out. But I'm super happy. It's been a great curve. This is the way it should be. I wish it was more of this out there. It would change my whole philosophy about the car. But it's just, there's not enough of, even here. I mean, you've only got 4 stations. So where are the 16 stations, the 20 stations, the 32 stations that we're starting to see? They just don't exist. Good morning. It's day 3 of this road trip. I could have made it home last night, but I was super tired. And what was really interesting was I checked into this microtel. Actually not bad, $92. I love a deal. But what happened was it said that there was EV charging. And I went into the back, and of course it was level 2 for only Tesla, and I didn't have my adapter. So I went over to the local Walmart right here in town, and I was able to charge. You probably just saw that, but I'm just waking up, so I don't know what the continuity on this video is. But look, we've got about 360 miles left to go. It's 5 a.m. and I want to get home. So I'm not working today. It's Monday, but I definitely want to get home and get some, just get organized. It's been a long trip, and now I need to think about what am I going to do today. I got a lot of stuff going on. I need a haircut, that's for sure. So yeah, so let's start this road trip back to Connecticut from somewhere here in Pennsylvania. All right, so we start this trip with 99% state of charge, which actually comes out to, let's see what it says in terms of distance, 513 miles, just a mile away from the EA where I charged last night, and you know, all good with respect to that. As far as the trip for so far, we've gone 1,470 miles with an average efficiency of 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, and it is 5:02 a.m. and we've got 363 miles to home, and it says I'm going to get there at 10:18. So we need a boogie, because I do have an 11 o'clock call that I forgot about that I need to be on for Zoom. So a little bit of a time crunch. Hopefully I won't hit too much traffic with the commute into New York City, because Route 80 heading into eastbound traffic can sometimes get slowed down just because of the sun, heading into the sun. So look, I'm doing my best and we're on the road. Let's go. But for right now, if you're simply going to evaluate this car as what it was designed for, as the ultimate road tripper, it just doesn't deliver, not because of the car, but because of the network. And if this video doesn't exemplify that, then take a look at my videos down to Florida and back. And if those videos don't exemplify it, look at the fact that Kyle wasn't able to set the cannonball record in this car, which it should easily have beaten Ryan's Model S, that Tesla Model S, the guy from the kilowatts. I mean, he still holds that record. And, you know, listen, there's across the country right now, there's not, you know, there's still V2s, right, for Tesla across the country. It's just the infrastructure that's in the ground right now is just not supporting this advanced technology. Is it ahead of its time? Is it ahead of its, ahead of the curve to its own demise and to its own detriment? Listen, I don't mean to breathe too much negativity into this car, because it's not. I shouldn't, at number one, because the car is not deserving of that. But if you are looking for the ultimate road tripper to get from point A to point B consistently, efficiently, and the fastest, I cannot recommend, quite frankly, any CCS car right now. The only CCS car that I could recommend would be one that has actually partnered with Tesla and said that they're going to support in the future the NACS format and protocol and what have you. So, you know, and then you're still going to have to wait for the adapter, because it's not going to be until 2025 that these manufacturers that are strategically aligning themselves with Tesla, that they're really going to have a viable solution in place. So, yeah. So look, that's kind of my final thoughts about this car. Not the piece that I thought it would be. For others, I'm sure it will be. You know, I encourage you. This is a great brand. I think you've got a lot of great people behind this brand that are out there trying to do the best they can and grow the company as best they can. I don't necessarily agree with all the decisions that they're making at this point in time, but that's not for me to say. So I can only do what's right for me and share my thoughts with you so that it can help you with your own decisions. Okay, so just finishing up the trip here, just a little quick check-in. We're in New Jersey, just went through the Delaware Memorial Water Gap. Anyway, just to kind of go over a little bit of the final stats before we come close to ending this trip. We're 105 miles outside of being home. We've traveled 1,728 miles. So the trip is basically 1,835 miles with a little bit of, exits on and off. So right around where I thought it would be. We have traveled so far.
Police reported ahead.
Police reported ahead. Let's slow this down a little bit. We have traveled 260 miles on this charge. Now remember, I charged up to 100%, and let's see, we've got 170 miles left. Let me just see what state of charge we're at right now. So after traveling 260 miles, we still have 32% in the battery, which is great. And so, no big deal as far as making it home. We will have done roughly 360 miles on this particular, jaunt. We'll see what that leaves in terms of no police there. So let me just put that into Waze. So no issues doing this at the speeds that we've been going. In terms of the trip information, we have on this particular leg, we've averaged 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour. The overall trip, it's 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, which again, for realistic mixed-use driving, some traffic, mostly highway speeds, not a huge amount of traffic, carrying speed. This car, as heavy as it is, as big as it is, with the efficiency that's built into it, what do you think? Is 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, is that really super great result? I would have thought I'd get over 4. And I wasn't going like super fast. But, look, it's designed well. It's a big, heavy car, but that gives you real world range. So even though they say 516 miles of EPA rated range with the 19s on it, it seems that you're only going to get about 412 miles of realistic range. And that's assuming you charge all the way up to 100% and take it down to 0, which you're not going to do. So, but on this leg, I did take it up to 100%, and I will be, easily doing 360 miles on this, if you will, first leg of, and really first and last leg of the day. There's a nice Model Y Performance over there in white. It's amazing how few Teslas there are in the middle part of this country. I saw hardly any Teslas on the road in the middle of America. But then when you get to either of the coasts or Denver, there are tons of them over there. But, not a lot of Teslas on the roads. I think I could count on one hand the number of Model S's I've seen on this trip, which is pretty surprising. I've not seen one Lucid still, not one. So, obviously it's an exclusive car. It's a young product. There aren't a lot of them on the road, and it is a head turner. A lot of people check that out. So anyway, that's the check-in. Here we are. It looks like I'll get home around 10:30 this morning. I left at 5 a.m. and, 5.5 hour drive this morning. I'm glad I stopped last night. That would have been, I would have gotten home, but it would have been super late. So here, whatever. I get home 10:30. I probably would have slept till noon if I had gotten home anyway. So net is really no difference, except I was out $98 plus tax for that microtel. All right, so the trip's over, and what I wanted to do was just do a quick summary as to everything that happened. I learned a ton about this car. It's so good to be back in my Lucid. A bit bittersweet though, because it's such a frustrating experience with the Signet Surge that I experienced. Right, so the trip's over, and what I wanted to do was just do a quick summary as to everything that happened. I learned a ton about this car. It's so good to be back in my Lucid. A bit bittersweet though, because it's such a frustrating experience with the Signet Surge that I experienced. But let me summarize this, and I'll throw some of the numbers up in a matrix format so you can see how this car really road tripped. This, again, just to reiterate, this car is a 516 mile EPA rated range. And I think when Kyle did a 70 mile test, he came out somewhere in the mid to high 420 range. Those people may remember Tom Malogny did the 500 or the 70 mile test, and he came up to 500 miles. I don't know how he did come up to 500 miles at 70 miles an hour, but for whatever it's worth, I can tell you what I did. So, the first leg of the trip, I had full charge from Kyle's house, and I was doing a lot of back roads, and I actually traveled 381 miles with an average efficiency of 4 miles per kilowatt hour. So when you do the math out, that left actually 44 miles of range in indicated range in the tank. So if you add up 44 plus 381, that's 425, which is basically spot on to what Kyle was saying when he did the 70 mile an hour test. And what I would say is that I was doing like 65, 60 in the first part of the trip, but then higher than 70 on the second part. So I think that really correlates very well to what Kyle was doing. The other time though that I had actually full charged was, it's now Monday, but last night I full charged in Pennsylvania, and I got 376 miles of range, and right now I'm showing 32 miles of range left, and that would be 408 miles. And so at a 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, I think the usable amount of battery in this car, based on these numbers, is 108 kilowatts. It's 112 gross, but based on the math in these two instances, I thought it would be 110, but it's closer to 108, which is still a big battery pack. So I think that's really good. The first stop, just if you went back and watched the video, it was in Grand Island, Nebraska. After traveling that 381 miles, I pulled in with an 8% state of charge, and I went all the way up to 71%. It took 52 minutes, and a couple things went wrong with this charging session. The first thing was plug and charge didn't work, and then I didn't really know how to activate the EA, so I used my personal EA account, I think, and then it ended up, I think it billed me. I got to make sure that I check the credit card. By the way, I told Lucid about that, and they're like, Dave, listen, if you got billed, we'll reimburse you. So plug and charge did not work on that first session. It was a Signet built in 2018. These happen to be all on corridor 80, and I got nailed with the Signet Surge big time. I did see a peak of 230 kilowatts, which was pretty much the highest I'd seen on any Signet, but as soon as I started hitting like 9%, it started ping-ponging all over the place, and it was a very frustrating charging session. It was on a 350, and had it been working properly, could you imagine 52 minutes in this car pulling proper charging curve? I mean, like, I would have gotten out of there a lot sooner. So look, I was able to charge, I was able to complete, keep going on my journey, but frustrating stop number one. Stop number two, I pulled into Waukee, W-A-U-K-E-E, Iowa. This was at a come and go, again, another EA 350. I pulled in this time sort of out of spec style at a 2% state of charge, went all the way up to 70%, and plug and charge worked, which was great. At this point, I had added
mileage, obviously, to the trip, and now I was showing 642.9 miles into the trip. And Signet Surge hit me hard on that one as well. So very frustrating. 48 minutes from 2% to 70%. Not good. Stop number 3. This again was on Saturday. I actually pulled in at a 40% state of charge. I can't remember why I went in. Well, one of the things Kyle said was, listen, I'd be curious to know if you get the Signet Surge if you pull in at a higher state of charge. And this was at Casey's in Williamsport, Iowa, and I was only there for 33 minutes. I went from 40% to 82%. Plug and charge worked again. So I was 2 out of 3 for plug and charge working, and 3 out of 3 for Signet Surge, because it was, again, all over the place, not good. I did not see anything even near 230 kilowatts. I think I saw maybe 170 pop up for a hot second there. So anyway, I traveled a bit, and then I ended up taking off next morning pretty early on Sunday morning, and I ended up in South Bend, Indiana. This was a lot of fun. Mishawaka, technically. It's at the mall. And once again, pulled in out of spec style with a 3% state of charge and rode that up to 80%. But here's the thing. What I got to tell you is, before, this was the one, if you watch the video, where the bolt was blocking. This is in episode 2. The bolt was blocking the charging. The guy was sitting there when I arrived, he was already at 100% for an hour and 12 minutes. And then this Taycan pulled in, and he was able to finagle and get his car plugged in there, because his charging port for the DC fast charging is on the starboard side of the Taycan. There is another charging port on the Taycan, but fortunately for him, he needed the DC, because the one on the port side, on the left side, driver's side, that's only a J1772. So very frustrating from a standpoint of bad etiquette. And then also, one of the 2 350s was just offline. So now you had a 50% hit rate for these chargers. And then there was a brand new Mustang Mach-E that had pulled in. The guy you could tell it was brand new. I mean, the thing had a temporary plate. It looked super clean. I think they had just picked it up and were having lunch at the mall or something like that. Anyway, it was just a frustrating thing. But finally, he left, and he was on a 350, and I plugged in, and I was there for 58 minutes, and I went from 3% to 80%. So plug and charge worked again. Signet Surge was showing its ugly skin. It's ugly, crazy. And then what happened was, I was cruising down the road for quite a while, and I stopped in West Unity, Ohio, and it was one of those rest stops right off of Route 80. Beautiful rest stop, as a matter of fact. I had to use the men's room, and I was at a 54% state of charge. Plugged in, and plug and charge worked again, which was great. So now I'm 4 out of 5 plug and charge working, and this time no Signet Surge. So I guess maybe somewhere around 50% state of charge. What the car was asking for from the Signet unit was not too much based on the curve of what the car was asking for. So there was no Signet Surge. I rode that from 54% up to 80%, and it was there for only 22 minutes. And then stop number 3, this was last night. I actually deliberately made a reservation. My daughter Katie helped me out with this, at a microtel that said they had electric vehicle charging. She in fact called the front desk just to confirm that it was operable, trying to cover all the bases. And it was only $98 to stay there, which I'm always looking for a deal, so that was pretty good. So I pulled up, and what do I see? They got the Tesla level 2 wall-mounted chargers there. Beautiful, brand new. But I didn't have the adapter to plug NACS into J1772. So I'm like, oh man. So now I realized that this town, Clarion, Ohio, where I was, there was also a Walmart and an Electrify America. So I'm like, all right, I don't even know what time it was, like 9:45 at night. I've been driving all day. I was tired. I was hungry. And I go down to this Walmart, and sure enough, there's an ABB unit there. And this is my first one that I've run into. And so I plugged in at 7% state of charge, and I pulled like immediately 289 kilowatts. And I was like so happy. I couldn't believe it. And, you know, it was amazing. At 18%, I was pulling 204 kilowatts. So it tapered down pretty linearly. Not the greatest curve, but you know what? I'll take it, right? And then at 20%, it dipped under 200 kilowatts. Plug and charge worked, no signet surge, ABB, you know, bring it on, right? So, you know, and what I did was I went and had dinner, and I just let that thing sit on the hook till 100%. And then, you know, that was the last charge that I did. So if you think about the first charge being from Kyle's house, that would be charge number 1 up to 100%. Stop number 1 in Grand Island, Nebraska. Stop number 2, Waukee, Iowa. Stop number 3, Casey's at Williamsport in Iowa. Stop number 4, South Bend. Stop number 5, West Unity, Ohio. And then stop number 6, which was Clarion, Pennsylvania, where I filled up. So literally 6 stops to go, 6 charging sessions to go 1,845 miles. Now on the outset of that doesn't sound bad, but very frustrating. Etiquette issues, signet surge issues. I'm not going to say the car has an issue with plug and charge, because it 5 out of the 6 were good with plug and charge. So yeah, listen, that's kind of where I'm at. So there's the summary of the trip. Not great from a charging standpoint. The car itself, amazing, super happy with it. Now it's time for me to really think about what I'm going to do with this car. We've tried a number of times to prove that this is the best road tripper. It's a premium car. It's a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with the car, but it's not a premium road tripper if all you're really thinking about doing is maximizing road tripping, which not everyone is. It's a shame. I do love the car, but the infrastructure is just not there. It doesn't help the fact that Lucid is not providing any clarity around their plan for NACS, in my mind. Even if they said, listen, we're not really sure how we're going to do this, but you know, at some point in the summer of June 2024, we're hopefully going to come out with some kind of an adapter. I know I've heard all kinds of things because it's a super high voltage car, you know, until Tesla comes out with their V4s or can get the V3s to go 1,000 volts. You know, it's not even worth doing. And I kind of understand that, but there are cars out there that can charge on a V3 much better than this car would on a V3 if there was an adapter. For example, that Mercedes EQS, the SUV that Kyle had the other day that I tested out. There's many other cars that don't have this high voltage issue. So lots to think about. That's kind of where I'm at. So let me do a quick wrap up, and we'll call it a road trip.
All right, so I just went over the summary of all the statistics. For those of you who've watched both episodes and actually watched all of it, congrats to you. I just lived it. I feel like I could go another 1,845 miles, and I'm not joking. I don't feel at all tired or sore. This machine here, this is one heck of a car. The best part about this car is how it drives. And it drives great on the highway. It's so solid and planted, and it drives great in the canyons. You know, when you're in stop and go traffic, it's amazing. The ADAS has gotten so refined. The software, with the exception of the navigation throwing you curveballs, just be careful with that. The software has gotten very refined. It boots up very quickly. There's no issues with that. Listen, this is an amazing car. Lucid's done a great job, but their partner in charging is my issue. And I hope they can solve this issue, because fueling the car is an amazing thing. Just think about this. If you were to buy a gas car, and as you're about to pay for it, someone says, hey, listen, you know, you may have some trouble filling it up at pretty much 90% of the gas stations that are out there if you're taking, like, say, Route 80 across. So, you know, it may take you a lot longer than you think. Would you buy that car? I don't think I would. But that's exactly what the problem is here. Now, there are a lot of people who can say, I'll be patient, the network's being built out. But, to me, the incentive for Electrify America to actually repair and replace and service their existing units is just not there. Everybody's moving to NACS. I don't know why Lucid's not at least making some kind of a statement to NACS. It's definitely weighing on my decision as to whether or not I keep this car, my dream car. Honestly, this is my dream car or not. And because it's not the ultimate road tripper, not because of the car, but because of the network, I got some serious thinking to do. So anyway, thanks everyone for watching another episode of Out of Spec Dave. I really appreciate you sticking with me. Hopefully we've had some fun along the way, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care now. Bye-bye.